One
Yeah.
one establishes some sort of confidence that okay, but yeah, we're still moving them on there. We're moving the line of scrimmage. Yep, we punted, but yep, we moved off the ball. The other one is, damn, I just gave up another sack. Damn, he just got sacked again. Now my core. So one is at least 60-40 positive negative. The other one's 100% negative. And I'll take 60-40 over 100% any day of the week. Again, this is not just always football, people. This comes down to life and business and everything else. It's trends and managing. And coaches are managers and CEOs of a team, managing employees. It's just on a football field. It's their job to watch what's going on with their employees, their players, and try to correct the situation as fast as they can. Their coaching staff failed them today, in my opinion, right from the get-go. That's what the penalties tell you.
Yeah, and so when, like, to your point, then to make the adjustment, and I thought this would be part of the game plan going in, especially when Chargers are missing, some defensive tackles up in the middle, up front on defense. I thought for sure that inside zone running scheme was going to be, hitting full force. So I was thinking we're going to see Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones both, pounding it up the middle. That especially because that was the strength of the Chargers defense is the edge rushers. So let's hit them up the middle and gash them. And that's a running design of this team that works well with the skill set of the running backs that we have. And so I thought for sure that is going to be part of this game plan. We're going to shove it right down their throats up the middle. And then once they start overplaying that, then that's when you're going to get the play action. And it just didn't materialize that way. And, so I wasn't quite sure what we were doing. Today was a day where I just looked at the offense and I said, that's not Matt LaFleur's offense. And what we've been seeing over the last several weeks, that wasn't even close. And again, though, a lot of it got discombobulated. It got out of rhythm because of their own mistakes. And like you said, though, it also starts with the coaching. And they didn't make the adjustments fast enough, and I don't feel like they had the right game plan going in. And then when you throw into the mix, our own penalties, and then going down, obviously it was tight still in the first half, but it started getting away from us as you got into the third quarter, later in the third quarter. And then the game plan at that point was just thrown out the window. So whatever crappy game plan it was to begin with. But that's enough on the offense, man. I'm
on that, since we're going to switch the other side, that's a good time, Ryan, to take a little break so we can pay the bills. And so when we come back, what do you want to talk about? Give them a little teaser before we take a break.
We got to break down the defense. Obviously, defense, bend and not break defense. Let's talk about that. We're going to talk about some linebacking. We're going to talk about Jaire Alexander in that secondary. We'll talk about some special teams and some other things. So, but yeah, good call. Let's pay those bills.
All right, here we go, folks. And if you haven't had enough of our banter tonight, you want to visit NFL Addictions on on Facebook.com for all of your NFL banter and chatter. It's not a trash talk site, so keep it clean and keep it cordial. That's NFL Addictions on Facebook.com. And if you still got an itch to scratch when you're done with that, you want to visit Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for their version of the raffle for all kinds of cool prizes, even a chance at winning some cash. You buy a $10 raffle ticket for a chance at winning $100. That's a chance at making 10 times your money. It don't get any better than that. That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com for a chance at all kinds of cool prizes. Tell them what you've won, Dave.
I've won everything from tailgating barbecue sets. That I have a Packers one that I won, folks, for $400. I put $40 down on the spot. I won it, and it was out of 20 spots. It's really worth it. I've also won helmets that are signed. I've won banners that are signed. I've won memorabilia rings. I've won footballs that are signed and other Packers knickknacks because that's my team. But go ahead and check them out. Cheap, affordable prices for certified, authentic stuff.
That's Raz Addictions on Facebook.com. Go there, play, and win. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at First and Goal Pod, myself at UPJ33, Dave is at Steak and Cheese, and the fantasy wonder himself, Dylan, at Dylan Busby1. Email us at firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com with all your football and Packer questions and comments, and you just might find yourself making the show live. That's firstandgoalpodcast@yahoo.com. All right, we're back. I know there was some dead air there, folks, because Jay's an idiot, and he clicked the wrong button instead of the play button, so. Haha. Leave it to Jay to do something technically stupid while I'm on this show.
It's all right. We're distracted. All right. So let's get into the defense. I'm done talking about the offense. That was pretty frustrating. Now, depending on how you view defense, you might be just as frustrated today as well. You know, the whole bend but not break defense, which is basically what the Packers have had this year for the most part, especially more recently. Some people like it. Some people don't. Depends on how you view it. Obviously, in those types of defenses, you're going to give up yards. But ultimately, it's all about getting takeaways and preventing points from going on the board, holding them to field goals or getting stops instead of letting them score touchdowns. And for the most part, Green Bay's defense has done a pretty admirable job of that. You know, they've been pretty good in terms of keeping them, keeping the points total lower. Still averaging, I believe. I don't know what they're going to be at after this game, but they're still averaging.
It'll be like 23.4, something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be close to 24, just under. But with this offense, with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, if you can consistently hold the opposing team to under 24, you should win most of those games, unless you have a game like today. So the problem was with the defense that is bend but don't break. For instance, so the first two drives, they did a good job of holding them to just field goals, but they got a lot of yards, and they took up a lot of time of possession, and they held the ball and prevented Aaron Rodgers and that offense from being on the field. Now, for the first two drives of the game, we can get away with that. But when that becomes the entire game, your defense is going to start getting tired, getting gassed. And that's when you start seeing bigger chunks of yards being given up. And that's when you know that they're going to run at you and you still can't make the tackle and stop them. It's because the bend but don't break defense is on the field a lot longer because they're giving up a lot more yards. And especially recently, we're playing really soft. We are not playing uptight man-to-man type coverage. They're definitely playing a lot more soft. There's a lot more zone happening. They're letting everything kind of happen in front of them. And what's happening is teams are taking it. Very much like the Packers will do when their offense is clicking, the Tom Brady Patriots style, whatever you want to call it. They'll take it, but that's what happens, is you keep converting to first downs, you hold on to the ball, and your offense doesn't get to see the field. And ultimately, your defensive players get tired. And that's what happened in this game. And it's kind of Well, pick your poison. What are you going to do? Last week it was, well, all right, we're not going to give up the big play because the speed of the Kansas City Chiefs at their skill positions are too scary. Like that's how they feast off of other defenses. Well, we kind of had the same game plan, even though this team, to me, the Chargers, I'm not as scared of their skill position players. Now, granted, they're good, but they don't have the flat out speed and ability that Kansas City does. You saw that today with Tyreek Hill a couple times and Damian Williams against the Vikings. But Austin Eckler's good. Melvin Gordon is getting back into the swing of things, and he's good. Mike Williams has got some pretty good speed. Keenan Allen's not a speedster, but he's a tall guy. He's athletic. He makes plays. Hunter Henry he's a solid tight end. They've got some playmakers, but if you look at up and down the roster of most NFL teams, you can say something similar. To me, that wasn't a team that I'm super scared of, and it's not like they've got the double tight end like Philly had, where they got to go that type of defensive game plan. That's not what they are. I was just frustrated that we couldn't get off the field, that we're playing way too much cushion on their receivers. I mean, there was a screenshot I saw on Twitter where it's 3rd and 2, and I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Jair or someone else, but they're literally 15 yards off of them. Like, it's 3rd and 2. Why are we giving up that much cushion? Are we that afraid of San Diego's skilled players that we're going to give up the really big play and we're willing to give them underneath that much? I don't know. To me, again, I feel like we didn't change it up. We didn't have a game plan, in my opinion, that matched up right and properly with the Chargers. But what are your thoughts on the way the defense performed today, Jay?
Well, I will definitely agree, because I had that same assessment with I don't mind the bend but don't break, but that can't be the entire game. You can't because for as little as points as it gives up to, you would think it gives your offense an opportunity point total wise. Your offense, even if it ends up in a rhythm on a drive, it ends up sitting on its hands and it's out of rhythm again. The players get cold. Offense is just weird like that. I don't know why. It just is. You want offense out there within 5 minutes is what I think. I know I have all these weird time limits that I just kind of, people think I make up. But again, it's because I have a great memory for stupid shit that when it comes to football, my mind was built for this. God made me to play sports. Once he broke me, he made me to remember dumb shit that makes me a good football analyst, like that sees things that other people don't. I'm not always right. I just see things differently. All right? There's that 25-minute mark. When you hit 30 on defense, you're dead. Every defense is. Very few win when they hit that. And when you're on offense and you're off the field for more than 5 minutes, you usually end up coming out and having a crappy start to a drive. You might make a 3rd down and get back into rhythm, but usually you lose some sort of rhythm there. It's just a thing I've noticed over years and years of watching football and time of possession stuff. All these little things aren't analytics. They're just real football tied to a number to make it understandable.
Yeah. No, just being on the field that long as a defense, it's just they're going to get tired, and that's exactly what we saw. And when it was in the second half, when we knew they were going to start running the ball, try to milk the clock, we couldn't stop them. Whether it was Melvin Gordon or Austin Eckler, it didn't matter. We could not make a stop. We could not get off the field. And
here's part of my problem. There becomes a point in the game where I feel like when they're driving consistently on you, and I feel like they're literally, the offense is saying, okay, if that's the defense you want to play, we don't mind keeping Aaron Rodgers off the field for 10 minutes, essentially an entire quarter, and taking our chances of him having to do magic with 4 minutes per quarter. Do you realize if a team averages 9 minutes of possession